What's up, savages? This week I started a completely gluten-free diet. So far, so good. There's a couple things that suck, like no bread and no coffee creamer. But other than that, I mean, it's really, really good. I've kind of switched over to green tea, and I feel great. I don't really feel sluggish at all. Things are better. The only thing that's going to suck is come weekend, I can't drink any beer. There's no beer on the table, so that's that. I don't know how I'm going to get around that. But anyways, this is a pretty cool video. It's the first time I've ever done this one, so let's begin. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Gandhi's Thoughts, brought to you by My Nutrition. I am Gandhi, and today, that's my video focusing already and instantly. That's always fun, isn't it? Today, I'm going to be doing a Q&A. I've never done a Q&A. I've never looked at one, never even contemplated it. But, I was like, let's give it a shot. People seem to like them, and I got a lot of really, really good questions. So if you see me looking off to the side, you know what I'm doing. But so the first question here is from my man Andy Bravo, aka @Brav, aka a guy who works at 343. And oh god, I think we gotta sneeze. Nope. Went away. All right, good. First question here is, what is my favorite feature in a Halo game and why? This one was very, very difficult for me to answer because there's been so many features over the years that I've just grown accustomed to, like throwing the flag or, just dropping the oddball and not hurling it like Tom Brady, right? Like those little things always kind of add up. But I think for me, what made Halo the best game, in my personal opinion, and by the best game, I of course mean what made Halo 1 so much better than all the others, was timing power weapons and power-ups, right? Like, everyone had every single weapon on the map timed to a T. I knew when the rockets were going to drop. I knew every 2 minutes on Hang 'em High, I can acquire those rockets and I have to be there. I know every minute on the minute on Hang 'em High, I can grab the camo. I know every 3 minutes that the overshield is going to be spawning that top power-up, or it could be the camo. You never know. That was a little tricky moving forward. I knew the sniper was up every 30 seconds. These are the things that made good teams a lot better, because then you were able to set up and position yourself in a spot where you're like, okay, this is imperative for me to inquire. I have to basically get my paws on this weapon. And, that's one of the things that we've kind of seen drop off. In Halo 2, it was as soon as the sniper ran out and you dropped it. So it basically, or if you dropped off the map, or, you ran out of ammo and you dropped it and you picked up a shotgun, then the timer would start. A little bit different than Halo 1. Halo 3, we started to see another static timer, and it's basically static and dynamic, and I think it was actually dynamic for a little bit, depending, because you could dirty the weapons, but I believe a static timer is good. I think every 2 minutes, every 3 minutes, every minute, it really adds a lot to the game, just because everyone knows where they have to be, and if they're not there, rest in pieces. They don't need to know, oh god, I grabbed the overshield at 12:07, I gotta be there at 10:07. Like, yeah, that's where coaches came into play, but now we're kind of seeing coaches start to fizzle out just a little bit, at least in the COD scene, so one can only deduce that it's going to happen in Halo as well. So with that said, I would rather see a static timer instead of a dynamic timer in regards to testing power weapons, or timing power weapons, not testing. I guess you can't really test power weapons. At least we can't. At 343 you can. Hey, you can. I got complete faith in you, by the way, Brav. You guys are got to be cooking up something sweet over there. All right, let's go ahead and move. Let's move down the list here, shall we? The next one is from Base God Chris, and he asked, who's my favorite commentator to work alongside with? Now, this one was, everyone's going to be like, oh, it's Maven, right? Like, Maven's up there. He really is. Maven now, it used to be really cool to, like, go to events because it'd be like, oh, yeah, I get to hang out with Maven. But now that we live together, it's like, I see you every day. Like, go do your own thing, man. Like, I'm so fucking tired of talking to him. Like, it's the same jokes every day, right? Like, it's the same thing. So before I would 100% have to say Maven, but now since I deal with him on a day-to-day basis, he's still in my top 2. But I think for me, my number one of my favorites to work with, and it's been for so long, is Golden Boy. I mean, Golden Boy and I, when I first started casting with him, we used to always have these exciting matches. Like, we were notorious for every time we casted a match together, it was like the best match of the tournament. Like, it could have been like losers bracket round 2, and it's, the Super Shredders taking on Johnny Tsunamis. You never know. You never knew what was going to happen, but it would always go to this, like, epic epic series, and that, you know, we always kind of bred with that. And then, you know, as we've progressed and kind of moved down the lines here, and, you know, from Halo, I guess from Gears of War 3 to Halo 4 to now Call of Duty Ghost, I mean, Alex and I have just done so much together. And, you know, he's just an overall good guy. You know, like, he's one of those people who make me want to be a better person, right? Because Alex is like Mr. Good. Like, he rarely drinks, he hangs out, he's a good dude, always shows up on time, never really complains. He lives by a motto of it is what it is, and I live by a motto of F that, right in the ass. I am going to kick people in the teeth who don't agree with me. So it's always good to have a polar opposite. Oh, by the way, in the middle of this, I was just wanted to say that I will be doing a continuation because I still have a lot of other questions that were really good that I decided I wanted to answer. This question from Dan DJSEFC Jesevic DJ Sefsk. We'll go with that. He asks, who's the best player in the world in Call of Duty Ghosts? All right. Now, this is obviously going to be one of the more controversial statements I've ever made, but I'm going to run with it here. So, at COD Champs, everyone kind of takes away how dominant Scumpy was, how amazing Complexity played, and how good Nameless did, right? Like, Nameless was definitely one of the most clutch players I've ever seen in my entire career, winning 2 3v1s that weekend. It was amazing. But, you know, you gotta look right away at the records, okay? Aches and TP have cemented themselves at 14 times MLG/event winners, period. They've won 14 events. They just passed Big Timer. They won a world championship. They have now basically put themselves in this elite category that people have to climb up to. So now it basically comes down to TP and Aches, right? It's really tough for me. Just because, you know, I really believe that TP will never be called the greatest player of all time just because, you know, he does the dirty work. He used to be a Slayer, and then he was like, oh, screw it, I don't need to do it. I'm just going to get the job done, and I'm going to show up. I'm going to, you know, kick ass. So TP's there, but it's really hard to argue with the fact that I personally believe that Aches is the best player. Hold on, I need extra light. I believe Aches is the best player in Call of Duty Ghosts, period. He may be one of the greatest players of all time to touch Call of Duty in general. I mean, Aches had a 1.5 KD in dominations alone at the World Champs. Aches has constantly proven himself. He's had one bad side in Call of Duty Ghosts ever, and he went 9-33. And sorry, my sinuses are all acting up, so I apologize for it. But he went 9-33 versus SB. That's the only time. Other than that, Aches has continuously crushed every single event he's went to. I have to go with Aches. I believe Aches is the best player in Call of Duty Ghosts, and I swear to God, I know so many people are gonna like tweet him this, and his ego is gonna get even bigger. If I had it my way, like Burger King, I would definitely give it to TP. But you know, I gotta go with what I believe. I'm sorry, Tyler. I love you, buddy, but I don't love you. Take it easy. Last question here. The last one is a little bit weird. It's from a guy named Hectic. Okay, now Hectic used to be on Ruffled Feathers back in Gears of War 3 days, right? Ruffled Feathers, one of the cooler team names ever. But he goes, how do you break past mental barriers and surpass limits, the people and critics around you? The first thing, and I talked about this as like a rule one of being a savage here, is the second part of the question shouldn't even be a thing, right? You don't need to. Why does fucking Joe Schmo matter to you? Why do you care what the critics think? The critics are always going to be there. It doesn't matter how good you are. People are always going to be against you. That's how it is. The greatest players of all time. I mean, look at LeBron James. What do you think he's got? A 50-50 love and hate ratio? For sure. Maybe even worse than that. And everyone's kind of been in there. What about Kobe? Kobe raped a woman and got away with it. You think he doesn't get crap for that? Yes. It's like a 50-50 split. And I know someone's going to take that super serious. But by the way, I was kidding. Relaxed. Okay. It's it's how it is, right? You want that 50-50 split. You don't care about the critics. You appreciate your fans. You appreciate the people who are supporting you, but you don't give a shit about the critics. You never pay attention to what people think, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. People want to see others fail because it makes them feel better inside. Because if you fail, then they can say, oh, I think I might have been able to succeed, but since he failed, I'm really glad I didn't waste my time. Fuck that person. That person sucks dick. You never want to be with that person. That's the kind of person who drags you down into hell. Like, he could like help you out, but instead he's just like pushing you down. You don't want to deal with people like that. They're the worst kind of people, period, across anything. So as soon as you stop caring about what people think and what the critics around you think, it's easier. Getting past mental barriers, a lot of people believe in this grind. They believe you have to grind in order to push past all of those limits. Yeah, sure, that's okay. But everything in moderation, man. Like, it's necessity. Take some time off from playing. Just do it. Step back and say, okay, what do I need to do differently? Watch gameplay. Watching gameplay is all I do. I haven't played much Call of Duty Ghost, but I know a lot just because I watch. I can tell you just about what the majority of NA teams do just because I watch. It's how it is. People get caught up in the fact that, oh, gaming, I have to learn kinesthetically. As long as you have some muscle memory, you're okay to continue to play. But you're never going to get to the full potential if you don't watch. You can play video games and get better, yeah, sure. But you're going to hit a certain point. You know why? Because you're one-dimensional. You don't know what your enemy's doing. And if you don't pay attention auditory or visually to what your opposition's doing to you, how are you ever going to get better? It's not only kinesthetic learning. You have to do it all. You have to watch film. You have to listen to people. Even if they tell you the dumbest thing in the world in a scenario, if they're like, oh yeah, in a 1-on-4, man, I like to just fucking push up there and kill him. Or, oh, dude, you know what I do with the sniper? I always try to go for a quick no-scope, man, and if I die, whatever, the sniper's on the ground. Who gives a shit? Those may be the two dumbest things of all time you've ever heard. But you know what? You're listening, and then since you go, oh, what would I do in that scenario? You then think more, and then you get better because you become more active in learning. You just have to actually give a shit. Now, that's all I'm doing for today. If I favorited your tweet, I will be doing more tomorrow. I got a lot of good questions. One of the ones that's my favorite here from Dan Dankmeyer, I'm going to end the video here, is what is something you dislike from competitive gaming now compared to days of old? That's going to be a good one. Hashtag trash talk. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for watching. I love you, but I don't love you. Take it easy. That was a perfect transition right there.